Improving yourself as a young man requires way more sacrifices than you probably think, and they can be truly, truly painful. So I want to make you aware of the different sacrifices that you're going to have to make if you truly want to level up in life. And I'm going to rate them on the level of pain, from uncomfortable things that are just going to have to happen, all the way to absolutely brutal events in your life. I'm doing this because if you can prepare yourself for what you have to experience, you're more likely to be able to get through it. One of the most common sacrifices that you're going to have to make when you start improving yourself as a young man is social status. You're realistically going to have to give up some of your social status, and you may be thinking, well, if I'm improving myself as a guy, doesn't that mean that my social status will get better overall? Well, it does eventually, but at the start, you have to understand that you're basically regressing because you're changing completely. When I first started improving myself as a young guy, I literally used to shave my hair off to undergo a new identity change and to become different. And by doing this, I lost a lot of social status. I would get laughed at school, I would get made fun of, people would be confused, and people would just kind of exclude me because they thought I was being weird. But realistically, I was doing it to shape my own vision and to actually take action and force myself to become better. And I did this by changing my identity. And you're going to experience things like this as well. For example, when you start going to the gym, in school, when I first started going to the gym, people were questioning me. People were saying that, I was weird, I was obsessed with myself, or it wasn't going to work out, I wasn't going to stick to it. And when this happens, when you're trying to endeavor on new things to improve yourself as a young guy, the people around you are not going to recognize, the people around you are not going to understand. They simply won't be able to relate to you. But in due time, when you actually achieve things that you want, and when you get better and better and better, then you can actually start to build new friendships with people who are more relatable and more similar to you, and then your social status skyrockets as a result of that. If I'm being honest, this is one of the least significant pain points or sacrifices that you're going to have to make, because at the end of the day, it will come back 10 times better when you've actually improved yourself enough. So that's why I'm going to rank it as uncomfortable. The second sacrifice that you are going to have to make is the idea of presence and relatability. When you start improving yourself, you get flooded with so many different ideologies and so many different mindsets that have you thinking positively and have you realistically judging people around you, right? Because you're being so self-aware of yourself and the habits that you're doing, you now understand that you shouldn't be, playing video games and doing drugs and doing all these bad habits. So whenever you see somebody who's doing the same, even if they're people who related to you, even if they're your old friends, even if they're your current friends, then you're going to get this weird sour taste in your mouth and you're kind of going to resent them, which is absolutely fucking shit, because you like these people and you like being around these certain people, but you just can't help the new standards in your head from dictating them as below you now. And when that happens, you lose relatability and you start to stop having things to talk about with people. Like, people don't want to talk about fitness, they don't want to talk about finances, they don't want to talk about successful dating, they don't want to talk about improvement. They just want to talk about what was on the footy on the weekend. That's not interesting. That makes you lose presence and makes you lose relatability with people. And when you're losing this relatability factor, you're bound to lose presence in conversations and stuff, because you won't really care what they have to say. Realistically, you won't really care what a lot of people have to say unless it's about improvement stuff, because you can sit there and fake that you really want to listen to this useless shit, but in your head you're probably ticking over thinking, oh fuck, I need to go to the gym today, or oh fuck, I need to be successful, I need to do this, I need to do that. And that's going to just affect your social connection overall, and it's going to again make you feel isolated and kind of fucking lonely. But this is indeed a necessary pain, so that's what I'm going to be rating it as, because you can get over this again, and once you can elevate yourself enough, then you'll enter into new conversations, new relationships with people who are on the same wavelength, who are on the same path of thinking, and then you will have no problems at all. Next, you're going to have to give up your hobbies. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot of the things that you once enjoyed doing, which you thought were good, but now you've realized, ever since you've gotten on the self-improvement journey, you've now realized that they were counterproductive to actually becoming better. And these are things, for me, like video games and like doing pointless, dumb, useless tasks, and things that truly weren't fulfilling. I want to talk about video games specifically because I was absolutely addicted to video games. I used to spend 10 to 12 hours a day. I'd wake up, first thing I'd think about is, oh, playing the video games. I've got to go to this new survival game. I've got to get this. I've got to do that. And I loved it at the time. But when I developed and discovered self-improvement, I realized that it was contributing absolutely nothing to my life except for stress. And realistically, it was giving me a false reality where I was improving in something that didn't even matter. I was leveling up, I was becoming like, richer, stronger, faster, better, all these positive traits, and it was giving me this false sense of security and false sense of leveling up. And it's when I discovered that, holy fuck, I can actually do this in real life. That's when they instantly just became redundant in my life, and I just thought, well, why the fuck would I not be leveling up in real life? Giving up some of your hobbies that are not really time efficient or not really contributing to the improvement of your life is going to be a necessary pain. Now you might be saying, but I have fun doing these things. Well, that's fine, because some things like playing sports can actually be fun and are good for your health. But if you're doing things like playing games and fucking gooning, I used to fucking goon as a hobby, it's actually being a detriment to your life overall. Now this can actually be pretty soul crushing. I've already made a video about how you're going to have to leave your old friends behind when you want to actually level up in real life. And this can be truly hard, man, because you go throughout your life being in a certain area, going to school and meeting these people, and they become your closest mates. Like, you probably have a few like boys that are like your OG homies, and I still have them myself, but the harsh reality is I don't really talk to them anymore, simply because I don't relate to them, simply because I can't be truly present with them, because they're just not on the same wavelength. They have a complete different way of thinking, and it's okay to disagree. But when these people are, promoting or doing things that are just taking them down in life, you can't afford to be the same as them, because you become the average of the 5 people you're around the most. And if you're around these guys who are frankly going down a path of becoming losers, you're going to be the next. When you realize that you're going to have to slowly cut these guys off, just like I've done, it can be soul crushing, because you go from having a vibrant friendship group to basically having nobody at all. And you kind of have to rebuild this. You're going to get FOMO, the fear of missing out. And these guys are probably going to invite you, and you're going to have to keep saying no, but that's because it's better for your long-term growth in general. And over time, they are going to start to resent you as well, which is absolutely harsh. And that brings me on to the next thing, which is similar to the social status, but this is more so about social events. You're probably not going to get invited to anything, right? Because if you're in a stage of improving yourself and really grinding and knuckling down, going to the gym, working on your positive habits, working on your social skills even, people are still going to deem you as weird, because in the modern day and age, it's not normal to try and improve yourself and astronomically change your character and just turn into a new person and have a metamorphosis. People just like to stay the same. People are just, relatable when you're just doing the same thing all the time, doing bad habits, all this shit. So when you start improving yourself, you're probably not going to get invited to many social events, because people are going to see you as that kind of weird guy. But the fact of the matter with this is, you're not really the weird guy. You're the weird guy to them. But there's a group out there. There's a amount of people in the world that are improving themselves, that have the same weird analogies and weird thoughts and weird, fucking psychopathic tendencies to try and improve and be better than other people, that you'll find them eventually, and then you'll be able to relate to them, and then you'll be in such a beautiful state of not missing out, because you're invited, because you're very relatable and they're your people. The problem is, right now, when you're improving yourself, you're uncovering who these people are for you, and realistically, they're not the people you're around currently. So because they don't relate with you, you don't relate with them, you're not going to be invited to these social things, and it's going to feel lonely. But the advice I give here is to keep just pushing on and keep improving, because you're going to reach that point eventually when you unlock a new group of people to hang around. So I'm going to put this in the uncomfortable category, because yeah, it's fucking shit, but it doesn't last forever. And the final thing that you're going to have to sacrifice, which is going straight away into the absolutely brutal category, is frankly yourself. You are basically going to have to kill yourself on this journey multiple times. Once you get to a certain level of doing this, you recreate yourself entirely, and you basically kill the old version of yourself off. You change your mindset, you change your body, you change your appearance, you change your social skills, you change every way of thinking and appearance that you have. You basically just become a completely new person. And this can be truly, truly brutal because you have to undergo so many hard moments where you're fighting self-belief, you're brutally fucking torturing your body to try and change it, you're, not happy with these things, you're doing anything in your power to actually change who you are and destroy the old version of yourself, but this is actually necessary. And although you're going to lose friends, although you're going to lose time with your family, although you're going to lose, general happiness, what you're going to gain in the process is fulfillment. And every time you reinvent yourself, you're going to access a new level of social friendships, of success, of confidence, everything that is positive in life. But it is absolutely hard to get yourself to change in the first place because you're not going to be liked, because you're going to start being disliked. You're going to even dislike and hate yourself. And that's where you just have to sacrifice the comfort, and you have to understand that to get to the next level, you have to reinvent yourself. You cannot be the J 1.0. You have to become the J 2.0, which is a leveled up version with new mindsets, new beliefs, new characteristics, just like a character in a video game. Look, I know the exact pain of going through this brutal metamorphosis of changing forever. Because I was once like a skinny little geek who played video games, who watched porn, who was addicted to so many different bad habits. But now I've killed myself. I've recreated myself into a new man, into someone completely different, and I'm constantly doing it every few months. You will have a new identity every couple months if you're doing self-improvement correctly. And it's brutal because things constantly change. You're constantly missing out on things. You're constantly losing friends, but it is worth it in the long run. And look, if I'm relating to you and you feel like you're on this same path of changing yourself completely, or you understand that you want to change yourself completely, but it's truly hard, then check the link in the description, because I've created the exact system, the exact blueprint that I use to completely change my life forever. Go from someone who was invisible, a fucking little pussy basically, to someone who is now confident, who can do a lot more stuff, who has a physique, who can get into social scenarios. Everything positive has come from changing my life forever and being on self-improvement. And although it's absolutely brutal, I can show you the exact way how to do it properly, so you do not have to suffer as much as I did, and you can speedrun the lessons and overcome the challenges that I faced throughout my journey. With that being said, just understand that these sacrifices are inevitable, and it's only when you understand that there can be no pleasure without pain that you can actually push through this. So with that being said, remember, the progress is purpose, and I'll see you in the next one.